And I was watching ESPN. Honestly, you would think Mecole Hardman was the biggest villain of all villains. I'm not saying he's not, but what I'm asking is he the victim of a slow news day? Now, if you don't know, he's a Super Bowl hero, right or wrong.
I mean, he is.
Super Bowl hero to now biggest villain in sports. And right now it's a matter of a he said sort of thing. People are saying he gave up Jet secrets while still on the team. Before the Jets played the Eagles, before the Jets played the Chiefs, because he was disgruntled, wasn't being used properly, and later on, eventually, as you know, he was on the Chiefs.
Now, we were going over this pre-show with Danny and Spot. And Spot, you had some notes up. You were saying how you got to take it back to the beginning of the season. He thought fresh start, Aaron Rodgers, winning team, Jets, Hard Knocks. There was high hopes. And then it sort of just fell apart.
Right.
Well, I think it all unraveled once the Aaron Rodgers injury happened.
Yeah, he only played 5 games of the season. And after the week 6 game, where it was the Jets versus the Eagles, he was traded 5 days later.
Okay.
Well, here's what's wild about it, too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is clearly he's disgruntled, right? Clearly he's unhappy about how things are going on. I'm surprised that people are so surprised that it's possible that a disgruntled player could give up secrets to sabotage the team, when in most jobs, that's why when someone's fired, they don't let that person hang around. They let him go that day.
But this was before he was, quote, fired,
yeah, but you can't trust people like that.
They were saying he revealed in this podcast where all this started bubbling up is that lackluster coaching and an offensive philosophy that imploded after Aaron Rodgers was dismissed.
Hey, you were left with Zach Wilson,
right? So and he just never he felt like he wasn't going to fit in. It never turned around for him. Furthermore, he apparently a lot of his college teammates from Georgia were on the Eagles roster at the time. I don't know if they're still there. But what do you think when you're disgruntled at your job
it up,
and you're keeping in touch with your college classmates? I'm sure when they all went their separate ways, they still kept in touch. He was probably like, "Yeah, I'm done with this place. This place is imploding. Yo, just so you know, when you play us this weekend, look for this, this, and this."
So
allegedly, because that's what people
allegedly.
Yeah.
So several Jets players
it could have happened
are saying that he leaked information to the opposing team. Now, why is this such a huge deal? Because of the brotherhood, because it's a team. You know, these are the people you were battling alongside of. You're supposed to have a trust. Team is built on trust. And, again, it also tarnishes the integrity of the game, right? So people are saying he should be suspended. And then if he's innocent, Stephen A. Smith was saying, well, he should sue the Jets because it's defamation of character. But people are saying, who's going to want this dude if this is true? He's going to be out of the league. No one's going to want a player like this.
The Jets beat the Eagles, by the way.
Yeah, that's the funniest part.
That's the best part.
Eagles. Yeah.
But they did lose to the Chiefs 23-20.
Yeah, 2 weeks prior.
Yeah, 2 weeks prior. So, it's an interesting story. But, man, I'm telling you, I don't know. I wouldn't be so surprised. People are disgruntled. They do shady things.
Now,
but it's an unprecedented story where no one's really heard it while the player was still on that team.
Of course. I was talking to Dan Beyer before the show, and I was saying, you see this happen a lot. Spring training in baseball, during mini camps in football. Guy gets cut. Someone from within that division may pick that guy up for some insight, but that's after the fact. The only thing that makes this different is that the insinuation that Hartman was giving up secrets while on the team, which is way different. It sort of reminds me of like Pete Rose. If Pete Rose genuinely only bet on himself, I don't really have a problem with that. It was the insinuation that, well, if you don't bet just on yourself, that's where it gets weird.
It could also have been unintentional. Hear me out.
I'll hear you out.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Maybe go back to what I said about him venting to his friends / classmates, former classmates. Maybe he was venting about all of the inadequacies behind the scenes at the Jets, and his friends were like, yo, did he just talk about like the game plan? Is there something we can do with this? It's very possible, like...
I'm fed up. Zach Wilson always rolls right on third down.
It's possible. It's very like. Did you ever see the movie An American President, which is a fantastic movie?
I have.
Michael Douglas and Annette Bening. she was dating the president, but she was also a lobbyist for this other bill, and she vented to her boyfriend about this bill that she was trying to pass, which gave them the way that they could have like squashed it and went with their bill. But he's like, wait a second, did your girlfriend just tell you something? It's like, no, the head of this. So it's like, it's very possible that he was doing it as a friend, but they took it as, let's steal this and do something with it. Once again, all allegedly.
Okay, yeah, all allegedly.
All speculation, all
it
assumption.
Even more drastic, not only tarnishing the integrity of the game, but putting his own teammates' safety at risk. Like you said, Rich, Zach Wilson always rolls right? If he gives that information to the opposing team, you could be setting him up for some serious injury, taking a serious hit at that point. So you're putting players' safety at risk, you're tarnishing the integrity of the game, and again, it's just a bad look all around.
But that's something you could see studying the film. Yeah. I mean, this had to be secret stuff about their playbook.
I go back to what Deion Sanders said kind of midseason when he was addressing the Michigan thing. He was like, you can get plays from another team. You still got to play them. So you could have the entire playbook. You're still going to have to actually physically go through and play this team, which clearly they still lost.
And by the way, I really got to make this point clear. I was sitting there watching TV, and I'm like, wow, this is like, they were making this like this is the most serious thing that ever happened in the NFL. I don't know if that's because there's really not a whole lot going on, or it really is. I'm still trying to process that.
I think it's a combination of slow news day and unprecedented because he was still on the team.
We did hear about this was happening and developing yesterday, and all of a sudden today it's the biggest story going. And again, I do understand the severity of it. I do follow. But based on that, if he is innocent, right, there was a lot of speculation that he has to get in front, not lawyers, not spokesmen. He has to get in front of a camera today, him, and make a public announcement about his innocence to clear his name and maybe even potentially sue the Jets if it's them dragging his name through the mud. But I ask you, Rich, and we see this with crime all the time.
Yeah.
Like, if you're really innocent, is your best approach claiming your innocence, or does that just make you look more defensive and more guilty?
Like if someone said Dan Byer murdered people.
Or if you cheated on somebody.
If Dan Byer's a murderer and a cheater. We'll do that. Okay. If Dan Byer jumped out immediately, whoa, guys, I got to make this clear. I'm not a murderer or a cheater. You got to hear me. Does that make him look more guilty or innocent when you jump out? Because Hardman did go on Twitter and he wrote, there were false, in all capital letters, accusations made about me and, all in caps, my character. To set the record straight, I have never and would never leak game plans to another team. I have never been a person to give an opponent an upper hand. I always want to win no matter what the circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, that's breaking the code, integrity of the game, and that's the update there. Your thoughts, Dan Byer?
This happened once a long time ago. Did you guys ever hear the story when the quarterback from Fairfield got benched after he stole the playbook of the other team and it was a fake? Yes, this happened. Greg Brady was was on Westdale and set up a fake playbook for the Fairfield quarterback who was wooing Marcia, and then that quarterback came over, stole the playbook, and they tried to tell him, hey, these are fake plays, because Mike Brady intervened and said, don't you see that you're stooping to Fairfield's level? Westdale's doing the same thing with a phony playbook. What do you know? Westdale ended up winning. Quarterback got benched, and in the end, everyone had cake.
I knew it sounded familiar.
Yes, man.
So wait, you're telling me that it all wrapped up in one episode?
Right.
I believe this happened to another coach. Do you know Coach Klein?
Oh, and the Waterboy. Yeah, with Henry Winkler, right?
Playbooks have been stolen or secrets have been let out, but
he's saying no. He's saying untrue.
Yeah, and we should point out that Jets cornerback Sauce Gardner was the first to accuse Hardman of this on Twitter. He said, we ain't going to talk about how our offensive game plan got leaked versus the Eagles.
Is that just sour grapes, too, because he went and became a Super Bowl hero?
You could have said sour sauce.
The game they won.
Is that sour sauce?
Sour sauce.
Now,
sour
that's what also makes the story interesting, too. Here's the guy on top of the world, right? Game-winning touchdown. Wasn't even with the team in the beginning of the season. We speculated when he got his what was the name of that fortune guy, that hypnotist guy?
Oz the Mentalist.
Oz the Mentalist said that he was going to win a Super Bowl, but it was with the Chiefs. This is the same dude. He goes from Super Bowl hero on the stage celebrating to now being accused of leaking plays from his former team, the Jets, where they're now speculating out of the league if that's true. So, Rich, based on that question too, let's say you're accused of cheating, but you really didn't do it. Sometimes the more you say you didn't do it, the more guilty you look. So it's like you never know how to act. You know damn well if you're like, I didn't do it, I swear to God. Your wife or girlfriend's gonna be like, why are you so defensive then? It's like, how are you supposed to act?
Outside of a bet, guys, I actually think that the players have the least to gain in doing this. Like, we think like, oh, the Jets lose a game, the players want a better draft pick. Players don't care about draft picks because then draft picks may have you lose your job because you'll just be replaced. Like, there's really not a lot there. If Mecole Hardman was trying to get somebody hurt so he could play more, like does that, like, are you really going that far to do it? Like,
Nancy Kerrigan did.
Yeah.
I mean, see, that's spiteful. You gotta, is like, what is Hartman's level of spite?
Yeah,
like, you gotta be.
It just doesn't add up.
Yeah.
My question along those lines is, what did he have to gain from down talking the Jets in the first place? Like, he was already onto a new team. He just won a Super Bowl. Like, why did he have to go back and dig up the sour sauce about the Jets that he had? What was the motivation behind that?
In week 4, he wasn't gone yet, though.
No, but he's already on to a new team. Like,
So you think he should have ignored the Sauce Gardner tweet and not even spoke about it?
Like, no, I don't think he should have been disgruntled in the first place.
Like, he ended up back on the Chiefs? Yeah, but he did this while he was disgruntled on the Jets. That's what you're missing.
No.
Why are
I'm
we so
saying,
shocked and assuming that everybody has integrity if this were true?
This all got kicked up
Yeah.
because of his recent interview.
And the Sauce Gardner social media post.
I thought that was after the interview.
The Sauce tweet was Wednesday.
Yeah, that was after the interview.
Okay.
So he gave the interview, was talking about how the Jets were horrible to him.
Like,
Right,
why bring it
yeah.
up if he...
Why bring it up? You've moved on.
That is true. Man.
Yeah, that's what kicked all of this up. That
If
he
you're-
did that,
And again, the two
quote-unquote-
games in question, like we already said, against the Eagles, the Jets won. And against the Chiefs, if I'm not mistaken,
Close game.
Wilson had a good game that game. That was one of his better games of the season, if I'm not mistaken.
It was maybe
looking
his
back.
best game of the season.
Yeah, because they only lost 23-20 against the Chiefs. So, again, it seems to be a real serious story, and I do understand the serious implications of it. But if he's innocent, then what?
Yeah, he went on the Pivot podcast on Tuesday is when the clip was posted.
Wow.
Right.
So
yeah, and
that
Sauce was reacting to
Right.
that.
So he kicked this up in the 1st place.
So he's got to be like, dude, if I was guilty, why would he even bring this up? But
It's true.
The question does remain, and you can wrap with this. If you're innocent, do you come to your own defense or just keep your mouth shut? Let's take it to our other favorite thing besides football. Love is Blind. Jeremy. Where were you at 5 a.m? If you're guilty, do you start talking and saying, well, didn't at one point, not to spoil anything, at one point it was like, yeah, I don't want to talk about that. Like, do you keep your mouth shut or start yapping if you are guilty?
Leave me alone. I see a jet ski.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know his best angle here, but a tweet, I guess, helps, and he denied it. So
Yeah.
that's the update.